Welcome to my channel. Old Coins News Today videos is one you won't miss. We're diving into the world of coins, so let's get it started. The 1948 2 shillings coin of the United Kingdom, bearing the inscription Georgiev 6DG BROMN Rex FID Def INDIMP, is a fascinating piece of mid-20th century British numismatic history. This coin represents a transitional period in Britain's currency system following World War II, as the nation adapted to its post-war identity and the gradual decline of its empire. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 to 1952. The legend surrounding his portrait, Georgiev 6D GBROMN Rex F Laughing Smiley INDIMP, expands to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. This inscription is deeply symbolic. It acknowledges his divine right to rule, his position as a sovereign of Britain and its dominions, his title as a defender of the Anglican faith, and his role as Emperor of India, though India gained independence in 1947, making this one of the last coins to bear that imperial title. The portrait on this coin was designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, THP, a well-known British sculptor whose initials can often be seen below the king's neck truncation. Paget's depiction of George VI is regal yet modest, showcasing the monarch's calm and determined demeanor during a time of global change and recovery. The reverse side of the 1948 2 shillings coin is an elegant representation of national unity and symbolism. Designed by George Kruger Gray, the reverse design features a Tudor rose at its center, a heraldic emblem of England, flanked by a thistle representing Scotland, a shamrock for Ireland, and a leek for Wales, all interwoven as symbols of the United Kingdom's unity under one crown. Around this design is the inscription FID Def 2 shillings 1948, with a royal crown placed majestically atop the rose, symbolizing the monarchy's central role in the unity of the British Isles. The detailed floral arrangement is not merely decorative. It reflects centuries of heraldic tradition and the ideal of a cohesive and peaceful United Kingdom after the ravages of war. In terms of specifications, the 1948 2 shillings coin was part of the florin denomination system, where 2 shillings equaled 1/10 of a pound sterling. The coin was struck in cupro-nickel, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 11.31 grams and measuring 28.5 millimeters in diameter. This composition was introduced in 1947, replacing the earlier 50% silver alloy. The decision to remove silver from a coinage came as a result of the economic strain caused by World War II and Britain's depleted silver reserves. The transition to cupro-nickel coins was a major change in British coinage history, marking the beginning of the modern base metal era. The reading milled edge of the coin served both decorative and anti-counterfeiting purposes, a feature inherited from earlier silver coins. The historical background of the 1948 issue is particularly intriguing. This coin was minted during a time of significant transformation in the British Empire. India had gained independence in August 1947, yet the traditional title INDIMP, Emperor of India, continued on coinage until 1948, as the dies had already been prepared before the official title change. Thus, the 1948 2 shillings coin stands as one of the last British coins to bear the Emperor of India inscription, making it a symbolic relic of the end of Britain's imperial era. In later issues from 1949 onward, the title INDIMP was removed from the obverse legend, and the inscription was shortened to Georgiev 6D GBROMN Rex FID Defensor. This change marked the beginning of a new era for British coinage, one reflecting a more modern and Commonwealth-centered Britain rather than an imperial one. From a numismatic perspective, the 1948 2 shillings is not considered a rare coin, but its historical significance makes it highly collectible, especially in well-preserved condition. Coins in uncirculated or proof-like condition display sharp details in the king's portrait, crisp lettering, and clear definition in the reverse floral design. Circulated coins, however, often exhibit wear around the high points of the crown and lettering, dulling the once bright metallic luster of the cupro-nickel alloy. Despite the loss of silver content, these coins have retained their charm due to their elegant design and the sense of continuity they provide within the long lineage of British coinage. In terms of mintage and value, the Royal Mint produced millions of these coins in 1948, ensuring they were widely circulated throughout the United Kingdom. The average collector value today varies depending on condition. Heavily circulated pieces are typically worth £1 to £3, while uncirculated specimens or those with exceptional eye appeal can command £10 to £25 or more, especially if they are free from toning or bag marks. While not a precious metal coin, the 1948 florin has gained appeal among collectors of the George VI series, particularly because it represents the final appearance of the Emperor of India title. Beyond its monetary or collector value, the 1948 2 shillings coin carries deep historical resonance. It embodies the spirit of post-war Britain, a nation emerging from the hardships of World War II, rebuilding its economy, redefining its global identity, and transitioning from an empire to a commonwealth. It captures a moment in time when the British people were moving toward modernity while still holding tightly to centuries-old symbols of unity and tradition. The coin's artistic harmony, political symbolism, and transitional significance make it a cornerstone piece for any numismatist studying mid-20th century British coinage. The 1951 One Shilling coin of the United Kingdom, inscribed with Georgiev 6D G, BROMN Rex FID Def, is a fascinating artifact from the late reign of King George VI, representing a time of post-war recovery, economic restructuring, and transformation within the British Empire. This coin, minted during the mid-20th century, captures not only the essence of British numismatic design, but also the historical shift from the grandeur of empire to the formation of the modern Commonwealth. The 1 shilling coin, worth 12 pence, or 1/20th of a pound sterling, was an integral part of the pre-decimal British monetary system, which remained in use until 1971. The 1951 issue is especially interesting because it reflects both the aesthetic traditions and the political realities of its time. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, THP, whose initials appear below the truncation of the king's neck. Paget's portrayal is one of dignified realism, capturing George VI's steadfast character and quiet strength, a monarch who led Britain through the dark years of World War II and into complex post-war era. Around the portrait runs a Latin inscription, Georgiev 6D GBROM Rex FID Def, which expands to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, defender of the faith. This inscription represents the constitutional and religious roles of the British monarch. Notably, by 1951, the title IND-IMP, Emperor of India, had been removed, as India had gained independence in 1947 and became a republic in 1950. Thus, the 1951 1 shilling coin stands as one of the early issues in the George VI series that reflect the post-imperial era, focusing on Britain and its remaining dominions rather than the empire at large. The reverse design of the 1951 shilling is particularly rich in symbolism. During the reign of George VI, the Royal Mint produced two distinct national reverse designs for the shilling, one representing England and the other Scotland, reflecting the United Kingdom's constituent nations. The English version, designed by George Kruger Gray, depicts a crowned lion standing proudly atop a royal crown, a classic symbol of English strength and sovereignty. Around periphery appears the inscription FID Def 1 shilling 1951, meaning Defender of the Faith, 1 shilling, 1951. The lion, crowned and upright, represents the monarchy's enduring power and the courage of the English people, while the crown beneath it symbolizes legitimate royal authority. The Scottish version, also designed by Kruger Gray, features a crowned Scottish lion rampant within a double trésor flory counterflory, a decorative heraldic border, again topped by a crown. This design honors Scotland's distinct heraldic tradition and its equal place within the United Kingdom. Both versions were struck in the same year and circulated side by side throughout Britain, giving collectors today two distinct varieties of the 1951 shilling to pursue. The technical specifications of the 1951 1 shilling coin are characteristic of the post-war British coinage era. It was struck in cupro nickel, an alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel, replacing the former 50% silver alloy that had been discontinued after 1946 due to post-war metal shortages and the depletion of Britain's silver reserves. The coin weighs 5.66 grams, measures 23.5 millimeters in diameter, and features a milled, reeded edge, a design element intended both for decoration and to prevent clipping, a practice where small amounts of precious metal were shaved off coins when they still contained silver. The shift to cupro-nickel symbolized Britain's pragmatic adaptation to its new economic circumstances following the massive expenditures of the Second World War. Although it marked the end of the precious metal era in circulation coinage, the high-quality finish and durability of cupro-nickel ensured these coins remained attractive and serviceable for decades. The historical context of the 1951 One Shilling is as compelling as its design. By 1951, the United Kingdom was in the midst of reconstruction and rationing, still feeling the economic aftershocks of the war. The Festival of Britain, held in 1951, was intended to boost national morale and showcase scientific and cultural progress. The coinage of this period reflects this atmosphere of resilience and renewal. King George VI was widely admired for his sense of duty and integrity. His image on the coin thus symbolized stability at a time when the British Empire was shrinking but the nation's spirit remained strong. The removal of IND-IMP from his titles and the inclusion of separate English and Scottish reverse designs underscored the shift toward a more modern British identity, rooted in national unity rather than imperial domination. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1951 shilling holds considerable interest among collectors, particularly because of its dual-type design and its place within the post-imperial transition of British coinage. Although not a rare coin, since millions were minted at the Royal Mint in London, its historical significance makes it a desirable piece for those studying mid-20th century British monetary history. The English and Scottish types can be found in various conditions, with the English version generally more common. In circulation, the coins typically exhibit wear on the high points, especially on the lion's crown or the details of the king's portrait. In fine F to very fine VF condition, they are typically valued between £1 and £3, while extremely fine EF or uncirculated UNC examples can fetch £5 to £15, and particularly pristine specimens, especially those with brilliant mint luster, can be valued higher by collectors. Proof examples exist in some sets but are rarer and sought after. The symbolism of the coin's Latin inscriptions and imagery is steeped in centuries of tradition. The phrase FID Def, Fide Defensa, originates from the title conferred upon King Henry VIII by Pope Leo X in 1521, recognizing his defense of the Catholic faith before his later break from Rome. The title was retained by English and later British monarchs as a symbol of their religious and constitutional role as heads of the Church of England. The crowned lion, whether English or Scottish, represents courage, sovereignty, and unity under the crown, qualities deeply valued in the wake of a global conflict that had tested Britain's endurance. The 1951 One Shilling coin also serves as a link in the evolution of British coinage that would eventually lead to decimalization 2 decades later. Although the shilling was a small denomination, it was among the most commonly handled coins in daily commerce, making it a familiar emblem of British life. The transition from silver to cupro-nickel and the eventual replacement of the shilling by the 5 new pence coin in 1971 demonstrate the gradual modernization of the nation's currency system, with the 1951 issue marking an important midpoint in that transformation.